You're about to see is actually really old. Life kind of just got in the way and I couldn't edit this and I had to edit other things and just my attention was elsewhere. So finally I'm caught up and I was able to edit this and I realized some of this information was a little bit old. About 1.5 months, almost 2 months old. Holy cow, it's actually 2.5 months? So here's what I'm gonna do. Some of the feelings you're about to watch are kind of old, so let me update them for you. Pretty much everything else kind of stands except for the fact that I love this show and that I took out any part that I said that it's not gonna be in my top 10. It very much is, and I love it. Like, I love this show. You'll see my rating at the end. That still stands, but I love it. Enjoy. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It took me about 1 month to finish it from seasons 1 through seasons 15. And the reason why it took me forever is because I was working on my web series and also doing, actual work. So I was a little preoccupied. So I wasn't able to focus fully on It's Always Sunny. Rather, I played It's Always Sunny in the background, but when I'm writing or when I'm working, I am not usually watching. So it took me a while to finish the show, where it would have taken me about 2.5 weeks, so probably. But because this is a popular show, I don't really have to talk too much about it, but I'm gonna talk about a few things that came to mind when I was watching it. But also I wanna make this fast because I have to do 2 other reviews, as well as upload my first video review, which was Weeds, so check that out if you've seen this before that. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, created by Rob McElhenney, who plays Mac on It's Always Sunny, and it's co-developed by Glenn Howerton, and the writers is actually Glenn Howerton, Rob McElhenney, and Charlie Day, who all 3 are in the show as Mac, Dennis, and Charlie, respectively. These guys are creators. They're actually creators, and it's wonderful to see that, yeah, you can be executive producer, a writer, and an actor on this show, which gives me hope for sitcoms in the future. Not saying that I'm gonna be in all of the stuff I do, no, but it can happen. It's proven, it can happen. But let's dive into this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go over the good, the bad, and the neutral. So in the good, I'm just gonna go over what was good in the show. The bad was bad with the show, which is very, very little. And then the neutral, because the neutral is what I would say is very opinionated stuff. So it doesn't really land on both good or bad. It will land on both good and bad for many people. So that's why I put it neutrally. So let's talk about the bad. So the bad for me personally is that when shows are about nothing and they don't really have a storyline, it's really hard for me to just have a long-term care. I like having concrete storylines. I like having that, like, oh, I'm going to see where they start and where they finish. And I know that It's Always Sunny is designed to go on forever, in the sense of they don't grow. They might grow just a little bit throughout the 15 years. Like, you definitely can see, like, the people that they started out have grown. They are still terrible individuals, but they have definitely grown into more, I guess, tolerable human beings than they would be way back in season 1 versus season 14, anywhere from season 10 through 15, honestly. But because it's a show about nothing, for me, again, it was hard for me to continue. It was very hard for me to fully binge it, because I was like, oh man, when it, like, I wanted to see a story, I wanted to see some changes, and I was just binging all of 15 seasons in one go, right? Just imagine, I didn't see anything in between this. It was just all Sunny. So, like, imagine screaming and yelling and everything just thrown at you in just one succession. That's how it was my experience with Sunny. So for me, because it didn't have a concrete storyline, that's what makes it a non-bingeable show, in my opinion. But again, that's a little bit of the neutral, where some people might disagree with me, but that's just my personal, where, like, but because there is no backstory, I don't know, man. On the flip side, things do get better from, like, season, like, 10 or 11 on. Like, things get, like, serious, things get deeper, just the writing just skyrockets, and it got really good. No, it got really It got better as things usually, well, hopefully tend to do, but it got better as the seasons went on. It really did, and the final seasons were probably one of my favorite seasons. Let's quickly talk about the good. So what's in the good? Everything else. Like I said, from the writing to the acting to the handling of controversial topics or even like unpopular topics, right? A lot of people are like, oh, the show is super political. The show is like, yeah, it is. It is a very political show, but they do it in such a way that you don't really notice because they play both sides. They present both sides to you and you decide. You decide at the end because these terrible individuals have played the extremes of both sides. So now you get to choose which side do you want to be on. They're both terrible. But even to the acting where, you know, it's one thing, anyone could go from like 0 to 100 in like 0 seconds, but Glenn is able to just go like, it's like a gradual, let's go. Just put on any episode and just watch Glenn act. He is phenomenal. He went to Juilliard. If you don't listen to his It's Always Sunny podcast, all three of them, he mentions how he goes to Juilliard like 3 times in 3 episodes, like consecutively. It's hilarious. These guys really have talent and they really have ability to create, to perform, to do. And one of the things that I think Charlie said, that I think it was Charlie, it was one of them, but I believe it was Charlie when he said that his goal is just to make the other people laugh. You know, can he make the other people laugh? And I think when that's what makes sitcoms, is that when you're trying to make your coworkers break character, then you know the audience is gonna enjoy it because they're gonna break, because you know things are happening in a hilarious and comedic way. So now let's talk about the neutral. Now see, the bad was a little bit neutral as well, because it's opinionated, so like it's not like, oh, it has to be done this way. No, like they did really well. Just my personal tastes, you know. But that doesn't mean it's bad. It really doesn't mean that it's bad. This neutral part is mainly for my personal circles who wouldn't typically watch the show and then hear me say, it's good, go watch it. And then they go watch it and then they're perplexed. So this section is for you. If you're a little conservative, let me warn you in this section here. This show is on FX. And if you have no idea what that means, it means they allow mature anything to go. Well, not anything, but depending on what the show is. For example, they cuss a lot. There's a lot of blood and violence, comedic blood and violence. There is poop humor. It's a show that if you're conservative, you may not want to watch, but if you don't mind and you enjoy crass humor, go for it. Again, if your humor isn't crass, you're not going to enjoy this show, right? If you're not gonna laugh at someone I'm thinking of Dee. Oh my gosh. Dee is hilarious. I love Dee. She's hilarious. Just her energy, the guys' energy. That's why I'm saying this show really is good and it's just hilarious. It's not gonna be for everyone. Gosh. So let me give you my least favorite and my most favorite, and then I'll give you my rating. My least favorite episode comes from season 4, episode 11, The Gang Cracks a Liberty Bell. This is actually one that a majority of people don't like just because it wasn't really written well. Just things didn't translate. I'm gonna leave a link in the description for a video essay that I saw. That dude explains it a lot better than I ever could, so just watch that one. But those are the reasons why it's not my least one. When I saw it, I was also turned off. And that's also where you get the head exploding gif. So everyone's first favorite episode is Charlie McDennis. That's actually my second favorite one. My favorite one is actually Charlie Work. And the way that it was done, the way that like anytime they take Charlie and make him the smartest one out of all of them, always makes for a hilarious situation. So that one takes the cake for me. So It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Currently, at the time of this recording, is sitting at a 97% on Rotten Tomato, and which is really funny because my personal score for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia seasons 1 through 15 is a 9.5 out of 10. There's a reason why they're the longest running live action American sitcom to date. There is. So that's why they get a 9.5 out of 10 for me. My social media links are in the description below. I will see you next time. You've just been Montified.